up with Angela Yee, and you may not know it, but Yvie Oddly is here with me today. Welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, this costume is absolutely amazing. It is Halloween while we're filming this, in case you see it at a later date. This is right up your alley, though. Is that like...
Hair? Yes.
No, I'm just looking at
Real
this.
human.
Okay. This is crazy. And the teeth, can I see the teeth again? Disgusting. Imagine your teeth really look like that.
What do you mean imagine?
Oh, okay. Sorry. What are your plans for today? I gotta ask.
I am going to be going to $3 Bill tonight to put on an epic performance. But before I do that, I have to finish my epic outfit.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to get into so much with you because obviously we know you as the winner from Drag Race Season 11. And you've been very vocal about just what your whole trajectory was like. I actually read your memoir.
Oh.
You know, so congratulations for being so transparent and putting that out the way that you did. And even delving back into your childhood, even things that before you were born, the circumstances, you know, to how you got on this planet.
Complex. You know, I know that life is not necessarily a simple black and white story for anyone, but I just remember even like trying to talk to kids growing up about my family. I'd have to like sit them down and do like, all right, this is the hour where we get into the people who are blood related to me and where they came from. This is the hour where we get into the random uncles who swing through and they actually just turn out to be a part of like the party.
Right. And, you know, I want to ask you, how was this whole, I know you said also in the beginning of the book, you talked about writing a memoir at a time when you're still in the midst of things happening. You know, sometimes people write a memoir later on after they've peaked and they're like, okay, now I can tell my full story. But you felt like right now was important. And I agree with you. I'll tell you why, but I want to know why you think so.
I mean, for me, it just helps get my story straight in my head. You know, we are all constantly writing our stories, but the human brain is so focused around survival that sometimes we can warp our own stories and we can forget some of the most important parts of who we are. I was feeling kind of lost, and I was feeling a little bit like I didn't know how to relate anymore to all the people who had gotten to see the beginning of my story on Drag Race. So the best way to figure it out is to write it down.
Even thinking about you being on Drag Race and competing and all the pageant queens that were there and how different everybody, and look, that difference is also what sets you apart, right? Does it bother you when people say Yvie Oddly's actually quite normal?
Not really, because that's like the point.
Yeah.
That is the point. Like, yeah, when I took my name, I did feel like the weirdest thing on the planet. Like, oh, nobody gets me. Oh, I'm just such a singular creature. Luckily, I've been doing drag for like 13 years now. So as I've held on to this name, it's become more and more of a joke for me when people actually do think I'm weird. I'm like, no, I'm here to show you, like...
You look so normal right now.
This literally is a Tuesday night for me. But, you know, I'm here to push boundaries and remind everybody exactly how weird it is to just be a human being.
Right.
Just to be on this planet is weird. So, you know, embrace the things that you have that separate you, that make you unique, and freak them out a little.
Even imposter syndrome is something that you talk about a lot. And I talk about that quite a bit, too. Sometimes feeling like you don't belong somewhere, feeling like everybody in the room is, you know, maybe smarter, better, more qualified. Should I be here? How are people viewing me? How has that been for you now? Because it's something that people do constantly struggle with.
I mean, that is exactly it. Is that it is still a constant struggle. I will say that by opening up about it, by facing it a little bit, it's allowed me to have a voice within myself that's like, girl, you recognize what you're doing. Like, you better shut it and turn this door and turn right back around, because you know that you're worth this. And I mean, it's difficult because the world is very affirming of all of the negative things we hold about ourselves. The world often plants those in us, but it is our job to realize that we're a part of something bigger. Every single person is a part of something bigger, and the closer you are to tapping into that, I think the more fruitful you can live in the moment every day.
At one point, it's even a section where it's like Googling what was it, Yvie oddly hate or something like that. First of all, I make a point of not looking at stuff about myself online ever. I don't want to see anything, like I don't look up good stuff, bad stuff. I just do not search my name because I know that potentially could ruin my day.
I mean, that's...
or my moment, because it ain't gonna never ruin my whole day.
No, there's 24 hours in a
Yeah,
day.
it's
You
not
get
gonna do
maybe
that.
5 minutes. But I always feel conflicted about this because before I became any sort of public person, before social media existed and we all became little micro celebrities and cosms of what is everyone gonna think, I was an artist, and I was taught as an artist to always feed from the opinions, to always take it in. It's a
Right.
critique. So I think what's been difficult for me is separating what I need to take in critiques about my art, and then
Attacks.
when somebody is clearly just projecting something on you because they hate something about them, and I know because I do it too.
Right. That's okay. That's very true. And sometimes you have to check yourself. I feel like when you start doing that, you're like, why am I hating on, what's the point of this?
Oh my gosh, it is really, really like that though. Sometimes I'm just so gritty, anti something, and usually in those situations, instead of going and posting online about, usually I
Right.
just
think it.
I think it, I get it
I
in
don't
my
have to-
feelings, and then I work it through and be like, okay, girl, you hate them because you're a jealous girl and you're hungry right now. Go eat a sandwich.
That hangriness will do it. All right, so I took certain excerpts from the book myself, so I copied and pasted them because I love a PDF. All right. So let's start off with early on, right? You talk about where shame transitioned into internalized homophobia. You realized this when you were a lot younger. Like when you think frosted tips will make you look cool, but you realize it just makes you look like an asshole. But you leave them because your mom spent a lot of money. But internalized homophobia, I'd never heard that phrase before. So for people listening, can you explain what internalized homophobia is and how that was something that you had to deal with?
Yeah, internalized homophobia is just the idea that we live in a society that before you even know what sexuality is, before you know anything about yourself solidly, they show you that certain things are unacceptable. And one of those things that I grew up seeing was being gay or being queer or being visually obviously anything but cis and het, identifying as the gender you were as you were born, having the hair color you had when you were born. People hated the fact that celebrities were getting plastic surgery, and all of these things for me honestly do culminate to make what is internalized homophobia, which is all of those things that, oh God, I don't really like it when guys are flamboyant, or I'm gay, but I'm not that kind of gay.
I only like masculine.
Yeah,
men.
that's the kind of stuff that I distinctly remember proudly saying to my friends and my family when I came out, oh, don't worry, I'm gay, but I only like men, and don't worry, I'm gay, but I would never bottom for somebody. And all of these things are just self-hatred, me reflecting the things I thought I had to do to survive.
You did have a lot of support though. And I think that's important because this was something you knew from a young age, right? And there were people around you, and even in your friend group, it was like, I'm bisexual, I'm gay, and people were just coming out one by one. And so I don't know that most kids have that type of support. So that was a really, I think, unique situation.
I mean, it really was, which makes me feel that much more silly for still being afraid to come out, to embrace the parts about myself that might separate me, because my friends, my huge ass family, they've always been there being like, I love you no matter what.
Right. You can tell us no matter what. We still love you. They were not surprised.
I mean, some of them were feigned shock. They were like, what?
But behind your back, they always on the phone.
They're like, you owe me $20.
Oh, man. And then another thing that you have been so vocal about is mental health, right? And I saw earlier this month, you were online on social media and you were basically having a tough time. And it feels like you are always trying to make sure that whatever it is that you're going through, being transparent about it helps you. But I feel like it also helps other people when they have a chance to see that, you know? So how is that for you, getting feedback? Because then you also, on the same plane, other people kind of like feel like they know you so well that they can just, because you're so transparent, come up to you and say and do anything like you're not a human being.
I mean, that's part of why I wanted to start addressing the status of how I feel, like mentally, what I've been thinking about, what's been going on in my life, because like prior to these talks, people really only got to know me through Drag Race or through the little bit that I do post on social media. And I just realized this pattern of like people coming up to like congratulate me on the things I'd done, or say they're like really proud of how far I've come from since when they knew me. And it was painful to not be able to take any of that in. Like, it made me want to cry because I was holding in all of these other things, all of these other situations, all these other feelings. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having like a professional face and a home face, but it became too much of a conflict for me when people would come up and act like they knew me, or people who do know me would come up and still not at all know what's going on with me. I think as an artist, like, my job is to pursue authenticity, even through fake, but you can't be fake if you don't know what's really under there. Like, you can't have fun with this if
the foundation isn't.
If it's
solid,
shaky, the whole building's coming down.
Right. You know, I think you've been really fortunate to be able to lean into who you are from a young age. And like I said, to have that support and to know that you were still loved. And then to go on and do the unthinkable. Think about how many audition tapes go out for RuPaul's Drag Race. And there's only a very, very... You auditioned 3 times before you actually made it onto the show. And then not just made it onto the show, but won. Season 11. And that season was definitely one that felt like, are there real friendships here going on? Like, it was, you know, and it is a competition. So it is hard to really be friends with people when you also are competing against them, you know, on TV and trying to win. So after that show and you came home, what was that like for you after you won?
I mean, that's when I really started facing the brunt of Impostor Syndrome. You know, the whole world is sitting there congratulating you on your dreams coming true, on everything happening. You really did it. And all I could feel was like, I don't feel any of this yet. I don't feel like a winner. I don't feel like I deserve to have all these people talking about me. I don't feel...
What about financially? Did you have...
Well, that's also it. Is like no shade. I just hadn't been paid yet. I hadn't been paid, and so everything that I was making was like from tours and stuff that was going back into trying to win. Like, everything I had made since getting announced as a Rue Girl went back into DragCon and went right back into the most money I've ever spent on playing dress up to try and win something.
Right.
So like when
I had to borrow money to even be able to compete.
Oh, it was wild. Like my roommate put like $5,000 down on a credit card. My home club had given me $7,000. Like, so, you know, I had thrown everything I had into my soul. My money, my time, my energy, my like, please see what I'm about. And then after I did it, I realized how shallow it was to think that that was going to make me happy. And I realized how difficult of a reigning year I was going to have.
And then in addition to all of that, you have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Am I saying that right? Ehlers-Danlos. I had never heard of this before. Right. So can you tell us, for people who are listening, what that is? Because that also made it difficult, and you had to actually let them know because of choreography and the restrictions that you had.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, I hadn't really heard of it before me either. But it's a condition that affects a lot of the connective tissues in your body. The type I have makes me hyper flexible. It makes my skin stretchy. It also makes me prone to like dislocating things. And because my joints are so wacky, my bones are always scraping on each other. So like. I had to talk about it. It wasn't like some bravery thing. It wasn't some like I definitely didn't.
You didn't want to.
No, I didn't want to.
Right.
To be honest, I don't really want Ehlers-Danlos to be a part of my story because it's so minimal to me. It's something that reduces things I can do, and I'm just not somebody who likes to sit and think about all the things that are being taken away from me when there's a whole world of things that
you're earning.
Precisely.
And rightfully so. Now, once this book came out, what was the responses that you were getting? And I know it came out in June, and we're just talking about it now. But what were some of the responses that you got from putting out your memoir?
I mean, I think really it did its job in that people got to know me a little bit better. It really did its purpose by opening the doors and allowing me to have like more authentic connections, not only with fans, but for me personally, also in my life. Like I had a lot of really good conversations with my family that I don't know if we ever would have, and they're still happening. And I mean,
like, had your mom told you how you even, was it for this memoir that she told you the whole story of you being born? And
I mean, I had read her diary as a little kid.
You read her diary?
Yeah.
That's such a violation.
It's such a violation, but listen,
Yeah, no.
she was the one who decided to have kids, and kids are nosy little crap.
You're right
so.
about that. We go through everything as kids.
Like me as an adult, if I saw that, I'd be like, I really don't want to know. Me as like a 5-year-old was like, hell yeah, I want to know.
I can't believe she wrote all that. And do you have a diary?
No, for that very specific reason. But that's the thing is, I still found out things in this book that I didn't find in her diary. Like I knew she had other baby daddy options for me of who it could have been. I know that she could have had a whole Maury show.
Right.
But what I didn't know was how she got my name, which is one of the baby daddy options chose it. And
right. And it wasn't, and then he wasn't the... But he wanted to. But what was nice is everybody did want to step up. Like he stepped up to the plate. He didn't even want you to not be his kid.
I mean, honestly, I love my family to death, but my family is the reason I'm such a nightmare today because I've always been spoiled with way too much love. And then I grew up into a very, very lonely, sad, not way too much loving world. And then I discovered who I was and was like, wow, this is even lonelier. I need everyone to love me. I need to win Drag Race so everyone will love me again. And it worked.
The good, the bad. And right now we are getting ready for elections. And so, of course, we have to talk about this, right? Because Donald Trump and his whole team, certain things that will affect all of us, me, you. You know, what are your thoughts about this year's election and how the world has, I feel like, become just with a lot of divisiveness?
I mean, it's kind of just the result of a long boiling thing with social media. Y'all can go watch some documentary about it, so I don't have to butcher facts and stuff. But the biggest point for me going into this election is to think about voting for the things that I directly know will affect me and all of the people I know in my life. And I would love to live in an ideal world where the perfect candidate comes through who...
There's no such thing as the perfect...
But that's exactly
There's
it.
no such thing.
And the most terrifying thing for me right now is, like, out of the candidates we have, there is one who has already actively started stripping our rights, who actively put us in a situation where state by state people are fighting to... have autonomy over their own body, are fighting to express themselves in ways that feel authentic to them. And it's terrifying to me to think about people being like too disillusioned to vote or not wanting to vote because the candidates don't support them on everything. When if you look at your neighbor to your right and your left, like you will see a woman who might need some life-saving care that is going to be unavailable to her.
Right.
You might see a gay person who's discriminated against in employment, in education, in housing, in medical care, and that's terrifying for me because when you start stripping away the rights of people in the land of the free, what do we have left?
Right. And that is going to continue to expand, too. People think, well, that don't have nothing to do with me. Yeah, it starts here, and then it just goes further and further and further, and they keep on pushing the envelope. So
that's why, like, I'm not... I would love to be one of the people who's like, I don't want to talk political because I don't think anybody does.
See how you.
But like y'all, there is an active war on Americans by Americans, and we need more time to be able to undo the damage that's already been done, and that is not going to happen if we let Donald Trump back in office.
Yeah, I think people just being able to exist, because even you talk about not, when you were younger, this is not easy. It's not like somebody, people always will say things like, oh, if they put too much of this on TV, it's going to turn kids.
I had nothing.
Right.
I had nothing. I'll talk with all these gay guys who will be like, yeah, my gay awakening was this and that. My gay awakening was when I was like 13 and was like, oh, I'm gay.
Right.
There wasn't active representation. The stuff that was there, even with my supportive family, it's not like I was allowed to watch Queer as Folk and Will and Grace and
FYI, straight TV ain't gonna turn gay people straight either, and we see a lot of that. And
I've tried.
and now you also touch upon your marriage. So talk to me a little bit about that here in person. What that was like, your decision to lock it in.
I mean, it's this is gonna sound so unromantic, but I did it for the health benefits.
No, stop it.
Legit.
For the health benefits.
Yes, for the health benefits.
I need insurance.
I need the insurance, and in case I'm in the hospital, I didn't want the person I love to not be able to be there, and also I halfway did it because people in my life didn't seem to understand the importance of what my husband means to me without me being able to use their terms like husband. Otherwise,
partner.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're just like, "Oh, are you still with that guy?" And I'm like, "You mean the Rock who's been holding me down in the chaos of the last 5 years?"
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing lovely.
That's an interesting perspective that I never would have thought of, but you're right about that.
It's annoying because, the rest of my life is about embracing who you are, standing out. And this was one place where I was like, hey, babe, can we just be husbands? It'll make it so much easier for my grandma.
Now, what's next? Is there more music on the way? What are we doing?
Yeah, I've got a couple collabs coming out soon. I'm always writing. I'm hoping after I get through the scary Halloween season that I can really start on this next project I've been dreaming up for a while. But
the creativity, I can't wait to see what this is about. And when you say dreaming up, what do you mean?
I mean, I'm always...
Give us a little clue.
It's got music, and words.
Okay.
It's got me and my legs, maybe. Who knows?
Okay, possibly.
No, I'm pouring myself in some major things for the end of this year into the beginning of next.
Okay, good. We like that. Set them goals. Well, Yvie, Ali, I appreciate you so much for coming through fully done, because I feel crazy right now that I was not able to participate in Halloween this year.
Listen, Halloween is what it is.
Yeah, wherever you go, that's the party I want to be at. All About Yvie, The Oddity. That book is out right now, but we're going to be stay tuned for everything that you have coming up, because I know from now until the end of the year, you still have a lot you're about to do.
I'm grinding.
I can't wait to see it. Grinding. You met your husband on Grindr.
I
We
did.
grinding.
I did.
It's way up.